All right, so good afternoon to everyone, and welcome to another day Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vivos. And of course, we are looking at one of a very, what we as Guyanese would say, ticklish topic. Um, it's one where I'm so happy that we have some young women who are willing to share their experiences with us this afternoon. So, as usual, before we get any further, let us pray. Eternal God and Father, which art in heaven, we are thankful for yet another day. I pray for the individuals who will be viewing this program in a special way. I pray, Lord, that some lives will be touched and at the end of the day, hearts will be transformed. So, into your hands, we commit our lives and we commit our audience in a special way. Through Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, great. So we are looking at the topic overcoming criticism as it relates to out of wedlock pregnancies. Overcoming criticism as it relates to out of wedlock pregnancies. So I know right now we're streaming live on YouTube also, and the Facebook. I just want to encourage you to share the link to others because at the end of the day, these experiences will be able to help and motivate someone who may be going through the same situation and can't seem to quite understand the struggles of having a baby, before they're married. So I'm happy, and I know some of our viewing audience may have gone through the same thing, criticism from individuals. So we are going to explore this caption live. Good afternoon, Sister Geraldine, and welcome. Some of you may be wondering why is it that individuals don't have their cameras on? Because of the fact that this is an issue that um, everybody may not want to talk about, and but moreover, I consider it whereby I prefer my audience to not show their identity for varying reasons. But I'm so happy that the young ladies are here at this point in time. So we're gonna get straight into it. I think you are seeing two anonymous one and anonymous, and there's a young woman, Miriam. Well, she is willing, whether person see her or not. Miriam, you can decide whether or not you want to put on your camera. But I'm so happy that all of you are viewing at this same time, at this point in time. All right, good. So today, for today's program, I will not be introducing my guests as I usually do. There are two other young ladies who should be joining me. Hopefully, we have the internet access rectified for them, but they should be joining me very, very soon on this program also. So let's get straight into it. And the first question, I just wanted us to be direct. And remember, audience, you can give your comments. Um, you can ask questions if you have questions, and we'll see how best we can go through it today. So the first question I want to ask, and it goes to Miriam first. Miriam, at what age did you get pregnant?
I was 30.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was your reaction when you discovered that? Um, okay, did you ever think that this will ever happen before marriage?
No, 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 no. It never occurred to me. I never even dreamt about it because I always uh envisioned myself walking down the aisle, get my husband, then plan on having children, how we're gonna have them. But then it just happened that I found myself pregnant. I went to the doctor to do some stuff. It was an annual physical, and she needed to do some stuff, but I don't know how it happened. She just out of the blue told me to take a pregnancy test, and she came back to the room and told me I was pregnant. I was shocked. I was shocked, but after the shock, I was so happy because I've always wanted a child. I'm a babies person. I've always been around babies. I love babies so much. And when I thought about that I'm gonna be a mother, I forgot all my shock. It just wore off, and I just became happy.
Okay, thank you, Miriam,
Yeah.
for sharing that. Thank you so much. And I'm going to anonymous one now. At what age did you get pregnant? And today we're not looking at teenage pregnancy, but we're just focusing on out of wedlock pregnancy and the criticism received by individuals, by these individuals who are pregnant. And the bad thing about it is that I was trying to get two males on my program today, but I didn't get through. Those guys who are responsible for getting ladies pregnant, of course, I mean, maybe they were in a relationship, but I didn't get through to because of work and all of that. But many times the criticism it goes to the woman, like we're the bad persons, you know. And oftentimes nobody mention about the men, nobody talks about that, nobody asks about that. But instead, oh, you should have been married, you should have been this, you should have been that, right? And that is why I just want to bring it to our attention today, this particular sensitive issue, so that even us who are regular and church goers, that we will take, I wouldn't say take the matter lightly, but be a little more encouraging to our ladies during this period of time. So, Anonymous One, I'm going to ask you the same question too. At what age did you get pregnant? And did you ever think that this would ever happen before marriage?
I got pregnant when I was 22 years old. No, it never, I never thought that I would get pregnant before I got married. I always look at my parents as example. My parents are happily married and they have four beautiful kids. So I looked at that and I wanted to make sure that that I got married before I got pregnant, but it happened so that it happened the other way around. I got pregnant before I got married.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Anonymous One. And Anonymous, at what age did you get pregnant? And did you feel as if you would ever get, you would ever get a child before?
I was 24 when I got pregnant, and no, um, I wanted to get married first before I started this journey. But what I realized is that due to my medical condition, the doctor did not guarantee me that I can get pregnant. He just told me that things will just go as normal and there won't be any way that that can happen because of what he was going through when it comes to what I was doing. It wasn't anything, it wouldn't have affected my process where I would get pregnant or anything. And I told him that these things do happen, but he said he was sure that due to what I was diagnosed with, that um, even if I was active, that there wouldn't have been any way that it would have affected my uterus. But I went back to him and it did, and he was shocked also because he said he did so many surgeries with patients and they weren't they didn't get this never happened to them, but he said he was sorry that I was one out of many.
Hmm. Thank you for sharing that. And ladies, what was the reaction when you found out? By the way, good afternoon to Tanet, who is viewing on YouTube, and Ashiba, who is viewing, well, right here. Remember, I'm streaming on three locations. I'm streaming on my page, Shibiki Vivals, and on the page Issues in Focus with Shibiki Vivals. And I'm also streaming on YouTube at the same time. And I want to encourage all of us to share the link. Remember, there might be other young women. We are dealing with a sensitive topic, and there may be other young women here who would want to listen to this program just to be encouraged because they may be going through the same thing. Because right now, if we look at around our communities or even in our churches, we have so many out of wedlock pregnancies, and the ladies, it is difficult for them to go through the period of time because why? They don't receive much encouragement. So I hope that this program will be able to encourage some young person who may be facing the same issue. And so I want to know, ladies, as it relates, what was your reaction when you found out that you were pregnant? I mean, because all of you said you never thought that you would be pregnant before you were married. So what was the reaction when you found out you were pregnant? And at that point, did abortion ever came to your mind that hey, I may have to do it's better for me to do an abortion because of the fact um, that I'm pregnant and I'm maybe a Christian and I'm, what people may say. So I'm going to start with Marissa, I'm going to start with this question with you.
Okay. Yes, I'm listening.
Good. So the question is, what was your reaction when you found out that you were? First of all, let me hear what age were you pregnant? And
17.
17. And what was the reaction when you found out you were pregnant? And have you considered having an abortion during this period of time?
Yes, at first when I found out, that was something that was running through my mind, but within my heart, that's not something that I wanted to do, but made, I had a discussion actually with my boyfriend at the time, and he encouraged me not to, and he would support and so on. So, but that was something that was running through my mind, but not something that
Yeah.
I would have wanted to do.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your response. Anonymous one.
You could repeat the question for me, please.
Okay, certainly. So, what was the reaction when you considered that you were pregnant? And have during that point in time, have you considered having an abortion?
Okay, so when I found out I was pregnant, I was filled with emotions, to be honest. I was sad, I was happy, I was excited, I was depressed, I was all over the place. My emotions were, I was shocked. I couldn't believe that I was pregnant. I was actually in a state where I was in denial. I was saying, no, my period's gonna come, it's gonna come, it's gonna come. But I was indeed pregnant. It did pass through my mind to have an abortion. I was like, I thought about it. Things it would be better because I would have to cater for a child, and I was saying I'm myself not mentally or emotionally or even financially ready to take care of a child. So yeah, I did think about abortion, but then what also ran through my mind was that after the abortion, what's next? Would I be
Hmm.
able to move on with my life? Would I be able to look myself in the mirror after killing what would have been my own child? Would I be mentally stable? I thought about it in all direction, and I was like, you know what? It is what it is. It has already happened. Something I cannot
Yeah.
reverse. And even if I have an abortion, I'm still not reversing it. All I did was add to it. And all I'm doing,
Mhm.
if I have an abortion, is damaging my mental health. And your mental health, once that's damaged, then you yourself is damaged.
Well said. I'm listening to you and I'm chills, going through me because it's like, I mean, this is so sensitive, and I want you to know, to our viewing audience. Someone asked the question, if persons on YouTube who are viewing on YouTube, I will get to see their comments. Yes. So whether you're viewing live on YouTube or you're on whether on my local page or on the page Issues in Focus, I will see your comments. I will see your questions. That's a good part about streaming live on all three locations at the same time. So thank you, Anonymous One, for sharing your experience there. And I just want to say good afternoon to Ashiba, Soyini, Sister Carol, of course, Delon, Nika, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, Chanela, Aveline, hi, Pastor Deskin. And I see here Decatori Ministry. That's so I know I'm pronouncing that word incorrectly, but thank you all for viewing, those individuals who are viewing this afternoon. So we're dealing with the question, what was the reaction of these individuals when they found out they were pregnant, and if they would have actually thought about committing abortion. And I want you I want to let you know that persons, the abortion is a natural reaction, and that's the first thing a lot of people think about. So I really don't want this program to be one where persons may be judging others because of the fact that they're thinking about that. So I'm going to go to Anonymous at this point in time. Can you answer the same questions that are on the table? Thank you.
Well, we covered the age, and so I was happy when I found out. Um, I had mixed emotions because the doctor mentioned two things. He said I have good news and bad news. Um, the bad news is that I would live. Um, that was the good news, not the bad. The good news. The bad news was that I was pregnant, and I said, then if I was, is the baby still there? He said, well, you know that what we were treating you for, that even if that had happened, it would have either be you or we would have had to find a way. He said there was no way out. I wasn't given the opportunity to think about abortion because even if the child was there, I wouldn't have wanted it because I would have preferred the doctor treated me and ensure that the child comes. But if I had to go, it would have been okay. Um, however, um, he had to somehow get things back to normal because now I was suffering of too many things. Now I'm trying to recover, and my body's recovering for two cases, and it took me straight down to zero. I was at a point where I was at my peak. I was happy to hear the news, and then I was devastated and terrified at the end.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I just want to say good afternoon to Pastor Andy Manzano viewing and to Danielle. And just to encourage you to share this broadcast to your page for other young persons to see this particular broadcast. And Miriam, what about you?
I'm sorry I can't put my video on right now because of where I am.
That's all right.
But yeah, but the abortion part of it never came to my mind. What came to my mind was giving the baby away for adoption, because I knew abortion was just out of the question. Uh, I was gonna be a single mother. The father of the child didn't want anything to do with it. So the only option I had was to give it away for adoption. I even started looking for people who would like to adopt.
Wow.
But I have a friend who sat me down and told me, no, you need to keep your child. God will see you through the two of you. Like he'll take care of the two of you. Just keep your child. Don't give it away. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And welcome, Dr. Hidar. And to all our young men viewing this program, I just want you to know that when it comes to out of wedlock pregnancies, our ladies is not an easy thing that they go through. And we need you to be more supportive during this period of time. And so the other question I'm going to ask you ladies is this. I want to know, I know Miriam would have mentioned it just now, but I want to know what was the reaction of your, your boyfriend, immediate family members, and well, members of the community and the church? How did people reacted to you when they discovered that you were pregnant? And I'm going to take this question in any random order.
Well, for me personally, when I told my boyfriend about it, now husband, he told me to keep the child and he would ensure that he provide for me and the child. Mind you, I was still going to school at the time. He ensured that he promised that he would have sent me back to school. For my mom, she had already known that I was pregnant. I didn't know she had known that,
Wow.
right? And what she did, she spoke with my boyfriend, now husband, and she talked to him about what he would do. And he said he will ensure that he looks after the child and he will ensure that he sends me back to school and so on. And he did fulfill that promise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's it for me.
thank you, Marissa. What I want to know also, I know you, for those of you, most of you joining late, but Marissa got pregnant when she was at the age of 17. And so I want to know, in terms of, how did your mother find out though? I mean, you didn't tell her. How did she know?
Well, the older folks would know these things because she was looking to see when my period would have came, and so she already knew that it wasn't there, right? So she already mentioned to me that, well, she knows, and her reaction was to him. She didn't really tell me anything.
Okay.
For the church, because I joined the Seventh Day Adventist Church when I was 16, and Elder DeMatters, he spoke with me, just gave me some encouragement, but I didn't have much criticism, or even if there were criticism, I honestly can't recall, but I know for sure I was encouraged by Elder DeMatters at that time, Elder Carl DeMatters at that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I know of Elder Carl personally, and I'm so happy with the fact that constantly encourages people and everything. And it's so nice for those of you who are leaders of the church, whether Seventh Day Adventists or not, and you're listening to this program here today. There is nothing like when someone can go through their pregnancy and then they can say, hey, while I did something wrong, I got pregnant out of wedlock, but yet still there were persons in high leadership capacity who encouraged me. There is no greater feeling like than that. So I want all of us to be more encouraging and supporting of our young women, especially when they're going through this period in of their life. So I'm going to move now to Miriam.
Yeah, my like I told you, I was shocked, and I didn't know how I would tell people that I was pregnant, especially my mom, but and the people at church, my pastor, because they believed in me. They all, I was a youth leader by then, and I didn't know how I was gonna break the news to people. But I one time called my pastor and told him about it. He didn't judge me. He was very encouraging. He was very comforting. He told me like everyone does mistakes, and then he told me about the church manual, what it says about people who get pregnant, especially people who hold positions in church.
Yeah.
Since I was a church leader, a youth leader, so one Sabbath, he had to call me out in front of everyone and tell them what happened. But of course, he had prepared me for this,
Yes.
and I was banned from doing any church service. It was so painful. It was hurting. Uh, I cried so much. But here, people after the service, people were just coming to me, hugging me, telling me it's okay, I'll be fine. It's on the end of the world, blah blah blah. But when I told my mom about it, when I told her I was pregnant, amazingly she was happy because she knew how much I loved children, and so even if it was out of wedlock, she was happy for me. My siblings were happy for me. So yeah, that's that. I was looked at with a bad eye. People at church, especially people who are more holy than I am. So like
Yeah.
I never stopped coming to church. I came to church every Sabbath. From that day, I came to church. I held my head up, and eventually they came to accept me, and I moved on. Yeah.
Thank you, Miriam, for sharing. I just want to, before I go to
Mhm.
Anonymous, one and Anonymous, I just want to say good afternoon to Richie, who is viewing on YouTube. John, it's always good to have you, and Odesia. All right, good. So great. So Anonymous one, can you tell me your what was the reaction of your boyfriend, immediate family members of the church, and the community? Anonymous one?
Oh, sorry, I was talking and I didn't realize that the mic was mute. So I found out that I was pregnant when I was back in school. So everything that I had to do was I was away from home, so telling my parents, etc., it had to be done through social media. When I found out I was pregnant, I did approximately 5 pregnancy tests just to make sure. Um, when I realized all of them were positive, I took out a picture and I sent it to my boyfriend and I said surprise. He immediately video called me and he was, asking me how I was feeling towards the pregnancy. What do I want to do? Do I want to go to the doctor to find out how far I am, if the baby is good, and everything like that. He wanted to know my thoughts. He wanted to know how I was feeling. He wanted to know, you know, everything that could have been at that moment. He was very supportive and he is still supportive at this point in time. He is still here, but he was very, very supportive. When I told my parents, it was hard for me to tell my parents. I, you know, had to think of ways how do I tell my parents that I am pregnant. I said, you know what? I can't do it during the day because I know for sure my phone will be blowing up and I'll be in class. I said I have to do it on a Sunday. So I did it on night. It was a Sunday night. I messaged my mom and I told her that I was pregnant. She went nuts, crazy, crazy, crazy nuts. She just went off. She was very, very disappointed. She was angry. She was surprised. She was shocked. She couldn't believe it. She was so mad that she was not speaking to me for weeks. My
Wow.
dad took it well, he didn't really show any emotions towards it, but I know for sure that he was disappointed, that he felt it. But he um he kept telling me that I'm his baby girl and he has my back and this is a hard step, and he was asking me if I think that I would be able to go to school and deal with the pregnancy. He told me that everything was going to be okay, that just think about the positive of it. He
Yeah.
just tried to keep me afloat. When I found that I was pregnant, I was trying to tell my family, my boyfriend, and friends that I thought was close to me, that I was pregnant, and try not to let it out into the community or into the church as yet, because I was not ready for that kind of openness, because I was still accepting the fact that I am pregnant. I am still dealing with that reality. Somehow, someone told someone, and that someone told someone, and it went out like a fire. So it just kept burning. To be honest, I expected persons who were not Adventists to speak ill about me or to say something negative. But when you hear exactly what your brother and sister in the church has to say or had to say or said at that crucial time in your life, it's just shocking. It makes you think whether or not they are really Christians, or whether or not they really have a relationship with God, because they had so many negative things to say about me, like, oh, I'm pregnant, my father is an elder, and they even reached the point where they were messaging my mom and was like, oh, stop hiding her. And my mom was like, my daughter is going to school, there's nothing to hide, because they
And
thought that my
just
mom
before you
was hiding
continue,
me.
anonymous one, these members were members from your home church.
Yes, please.
Okay.
They are members from my home church. So they were telling my mom, oh, why is my parents hiding me and stuff like that? Why they have me down there? Why they don't bring me up? So my mom had to explain to them that I'm still going to school regardless of what is going on. It even had a point in time where a group of church members literally sat down a Sunday evening after church and discussed me and my pregnancy, and they had nothing positive to say. So it kind of it hurt that it came from your own brothers and sisters in Christ, but I had learned to just, move forward. And I said, thank God that I don't go to church, or that I'm not an Adventist because of people, but because of my love for God. Because if it was because of persons, then I would have literally dropped out of church, just because. And especially when you hear it from the persons it coming from, elders, first elders, deacons, and they have nothing
Yes.
positive to say. It's like, okay, then these people legit, they have heads, and are they even do they even have a relationship with God? If they
Mm-hmm.
can sit down and discuss me, they haven't even asked my parents to know how she doing, how is she taking it. So that was a very hard part in my life, where I didn't even get to deal or hold on or grab the fact that I was pregnant. I just had to jump right in because of what everyone else around me was saying. I just had to protect myself from the negative. Because if I had allowed myself to listen to what people were saying about me, then maybe I would have done an abortion just because of what they were saying. But because I just put up blockers and say, you know what, it is what it is, it's already happened, and because of what the positive my father was saying and the support I was getting from other family members and my boyfriend, it was easy for me to grab onto that positive at that moment. When I was down there, I didn't hear nothing negative. If it was said, it wasn't said in my presence, or anyone came back and say, oh, this persons, then they were more gravitating. They were, oh my God, you're pregnant, how far along you are. They would more ask me if I'm getting married, when is the wedding. But I didn't hear anything negative per se. So
Okay.
that made it comfortable and more easy for me to deal with my pregnancy when I was down there.
Thank you for sharing that. And to our listening audience, once again, I mean, this is real talk here from our ladies this afternoon. You may never get to hear people's personal story in terms of many times ladies who get pregnant, they don't really come out. You might barely hear them say, oh, people talking about me, and that's it. But today we are getting the facts surrounding how these individuals actually feel. I mean, this is just a small number. I'm supposed to have somebody else in the program, but unfortunately, they're not getting to connect. But this is just a small proportion of the amount of ladies who have been pregnant, and the extent in which they already have to, as what Anonymous once said, she had to battle with or inner feelings. Okay, come into reality, that I am pregnant, and then worse yet, to be dealing with comments and criticism from those individuals from the church. And as you grow and you mature in God, you realize that, hey, I mean, one of the things I've started doing with young women who I discovered was pregnant. And I am so happy that over the years, some ladies would just come and say, hey, I'm pregnant. You're the first to know. I'm like, okay, what's next? And I am so happy that God would have used me to be a supporting mechanism for them, that, hey, no worry. I don't have to tell anybody that you're pregnant, but then don't abort the child. And even, some of them will call you back, I'm thinking about abortion, because I mean, that's the fastest thing that people will think about, just to, for that shame not to be there. But I'm happy that I can look at those ladies now, and I can look at their children and say, thank you, Jesus. At least encourage them. And I just want to implore all of us just to be a little more encouraging to individuals, especially for young women during this period of time. And so I think I have one. Oh, Anonymous. The same question that the audience would have spoken of. What was the reaction of your boyfriend, family members, and members of the community and the church when they discovered that you were pregnant? Anonymous?
I'm here. My boyfriend at that time, I called him over the phone and I told him at this time I was already home with my parents. Um, they didn't know. He had mixed emotions, and he asked me how was everything. I said, I did a test and it's showing positive, but I don't understand the test because they're saying that it's supposed to show two lines, but I'm seeing one line and a faded line, and I don't understand what's that faded line. However, he said, go to the doctor and ensure you let him know your medications and how you're using it, and let him do another test with you. And then he would call me back the afternoon. But he would sound excited, even though he had this mixed emotion, because he had known that there isn't no way that we should have tried anything, but just to wait until I'm completely healed, and then he would we will go down that line. Uh, went into the doctor, and he decided to do an ultrasound instead of a test. And at this time, I really don't know what's going on, and I'm all alone. I'm all alone, and he called me back before the afternoon because he wants to know exactly what is going on step by step. I said, I'm in the room, but I cannot talk because when you're doing ultrasound, there is you cannot have your phone with you. And the woman didn't say anything. She just rubbed my shoulders and she said, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. So I was like, what do you mean I'm gonna be okay? Is everything all right? What are you seeing? She said, just take this back to the doctor and he's going to explain to you fine. Um, I'm already nervous because at this time I know nothing what's going on. I know nothing. I can't tell him anything, but he's calling 23/7. Should I get something and come? It's gonna take a while. I might not reach today. I might reach the next day. I said, don't worry, I'm going to call you and I will let you know. Went in back to the room with the doctor, and well, there's when he's telling me that I was, and I ran out of the room. Said, Doc, I have to make this call quickly. And I said, well, what you saw, it, it is and it was truth. I really didn't know what to tell him anymore because now I did tell him that the test did show something. But afterwards, and after said, well, it's not there anymore. And he went ballistic. It's like a pressure pot went off because he's asking me now, what did I do? I said, I did nothing wrong. I may just call you just the day before. He's like, you had to do something. What you do to my child? I said, but I'm going to call you back. I went back into the room this time. I'm shocked. I can't listen to the doctor because now the response over the phone is not nice. I said, Doc, what you mean? It's not there. This young man now is asking, what did I do to his child? He said, I thought I spoke to the two of you. I said, but doc, this was a while ago. He said, yes, but you didn't suspect anything. I said, I did experience a long out period of where I was bleeding. And he was like, why you didn't say anything? I said, because I thought it was just the health. You did say that that will start flowing as normal. He said, but not so long. You actually bled everything out. I was like, bled everything out? How can I bleed everything out? I went home. Now I'm trying to talk to my mother. I'm trying to talk to my father, and I can't take anything that's coming to my head because I'm trying to understand how can I be pregnant 1 minute and not pregnant after within a short moment, and it was that far in. What did I do wrong? Um, I don't think the church would have known because I was not an Adventist at that time. I and coming out of far away where I went really, really far from school, and there was no way I could have gotten to any. I never found myself in a religious group back after I started school. I just wanted to be, I just wanted to finish school and head back home. And he just changed. My home changed. My community changed because I don't know how they're going to find out knowing how my parents are. They really don't care. When you disappoint them. disappointing. They say it, they talk loud, and whoever would pass by the house, they would hear, and whatever they hear, they just went with it. Um, I didn't go back to church for like 2 years. I just didn't know how I would have faced them because I can't explain anything. So what happens next is that with the matter of days, I was hospitalized and it was under their pressure to fix it.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think out of maybe all the programs I did, I think this is one of the most emotional program because it's like I have I think it's the very first time I really sat and asked persons, their experiences to this level, even though I met there's several friends who got pregnant, but I never took the time to really sit and, last night while I was coming up with the questions, I knew that this program would have been on Friday, but then in my mind, I'm like, Lord, what questions to ask? And that was a struggle. And when I finally came up with them last night, but just coming up with questions, but then listening to people answer the questions who be in true situation, it's like a totally different emotional feeling altogether. And for me, it's a learning lesson, just don't take people's experiences for granted. And if it means just having a little more chat with them to find out what they're going on deep within them, and to see if you can be beyond help, just to say, okay, you'll be fine. May God be with you. But to see how much more practical I can be in helping them the situation. So what all of you are doing here, sharing your story, it's indeed life impacting for me, and I really and truly say thank you for that. I want to say welcome to Telma, who is viewing on YouTube, and of course to my cousin, Richard Simon. Thank you for viewing this afternoon. And the other question is this: did you at any point thought about getting married to cover up your pregnancy? I know. Um, oh, okay. Did you thought about getting married to cover up your pregnancy? And I know Maurice is married. Yes, so I want to know your responses to this. I'm going to start with Miriam.
No, I didn't have that option. I didn't have that option because, well, like I said, the father of my baby said he didn't want anything to do with it when I was just a few weeks pregnant. So there was no one to marry to cover it up. I was all by myself. I was gonna be a single mother. It was so hard to swallow. I never imagined myself to be a single mother, and I always frowned at single mothers. Like, how do you get pregnant out of wedlock? How do you become a single mother? But then it occurred to me, and here I was. Like, so I had no option of marrying anyone to cover up the pregnancy because he wasn't in my life, and he has
Yeah.
never been in my life. So that's it.
Thank you, Miriam. And I just want to just to put this comment on stream that Pastor Mandy and Andy Manzano made here. And he said the issue of premarital sex and pregnancy is highly complex, and the consequences are never thought of until the situation arrives. And we are discovering that. If nobody ever thought about that, we are discovering that today. Thank you for your comment, Pastor. So, anonymous one, did you thought about getting married to cover up your pregnancy?
No, not once have I thought about getting married to cover up my pregnancy. When I look at marriage, it's something secret, it's something serious, it's something that you have to or be ready to do. When I look at my parents, their love true. It's the true definition of love. You can see it, and that's what I want. I want to be able to get married to someone that I could truly, see years with. I don't want to be I didn't want to get married just because I got pregnant. I wanted it to be I got married because it's time for me to get married, or because I'm ready to get married, not because of the situation I was in. And then when telling my story, I don't want to tell my baby, oh, I got married because I found out that I was pregnant with you. I want it to be, oh, I got pregnant with you. And then, one thing leads to the other. Me and daddy decides it's time to get married. I didn't want it to be a story that, oh, I got pregnant, so yeah, I'm gonna get married and hide it. It was already out there. It had already happened. I couldn't do anything about it, and getting married to cover it up only would, well, you don't even know what to expect if you do something like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Anonymous?
My parents didn't allow him to even come around back after what he did or what he said. So we were planning even before the surgery. So after that, his reaction, and my father was disappointed at his reaction. He probably thought that he would have come and said that, well, I'm going to marry your daughter and we will have to go through this together because remember she's recovering for two. Um, my father just looked at him and said, if you can deal with my daughter at this situation, I guess you're not ready to marry her because you cannot handle shocks, surprises,
Yeah.
and shocks. He said you're not you may look like a man, but you sure didn't act like a man.
Hmm.
I'm her father. I did got upset. I did scream at her and I did say things, but then I was there for her when she was in the hospital. I was there for her when she screamed. I was there for her when she called out for help. But where were you? You just yell at
Hmm.
a distance, come around when you feel like accuse her, said things. You just made the situation worse, just like us. So I can't allow it. You have to go.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I want to go to Marissa. Marissa, I know you're married now, and I think you would have mentioned before that it's the same person who was your boyfriend that you got pregnant for. You're now married. So the question is, did you guys marry because of the pregnancy?
No, we did not marry because of the pregnancy, but we married because we were actually in love with each other. Because thinking about being married because I was pregnant was the last thing. Because for me, I needed to think of the fact that I need to finish school. So we got married in 2013, right? And that's a little while after the fact that I would have gotten
Who, me?
pregnant, right? So that would have been the last thing on my mind.
All right. Go ahead, Marissa.
Yes, I was saying just now that we got married not because of the fact that I got pregnant, but the fact that we were actually in love with each other. And the first thought that came to me was not just wanting to be married, but I had to think about finishing school because I was in school when I got pregnant. So marriage would have been the last thing on my mind, and were actually, like I'm saying now, we were actually in love. So that's why we got married in 2013, because we didn't got married after. Because remember, I was really young, so there
Yeah.
was no room for me to go and get married. I didn't had any experience, no nothing, right? So I wasn't going to rush into marriage because of a pregnancy, but
Mhm.
we're together to a day like today because the fact that we love each other and we support each other.
Thank you. And I want to say to persons out there because I remember when I was in secondary school, my very early adulthood, I couldn't comprehend why is it that people go get pregnant and they're not getting married. Why not just go marry and done? But I just couldn't understand. But it was until maybe in my early 20s in which I really realized and when I analyzed to say, hey, nobody should get married because they're pregnant. Come on, that should never be the first option or the first way out. And we find that many times our church members will force us to say, oh, why don't these two young people go and get married? No, 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 no. As anonymous one would have mentioned, marriage is a serious commitment. And why are you just going to get married to cover up a pregnancy? Like, come on. whether or not people will still know that you were pregnant and you married because you were pregnant. So if you're trying to cover up the talk or prevent persons from talking, they will still find out and they will still talk. So analyze the situation more. I mean, premarital sex is already bad. And when it comes to pregnancy, it is a greater feeling of maybe depression for many and all of those different things that will happen. And to add marriage to the list too, the third thing that sometimes the person you married to, you really and truly didn't know that you didn't even see half of this person as yet. So I want to even encourage our audience out there who might be thinking that, oh, I'm having sex. And that's why no wonder why I can remember when we did the program on premarital sex, when we discover the amount of consequences that people face when they are having when it comes to premarital sex. And of course, pregnancy is one of them. But never ever, ladies, feel as if don't make anybody, I don't care if it's your pastor, your elder, or whoever, force you into marrying because of the fact that you're pregnant. Take your time and be very happy if that person becomes your husband. In Marissa's case, she was one of the fortunate one. Everybody may not be that fortunate. And I hope in terms of anonymous one case, I hope that one day both of you will be married in a sense of your child, you have your child now and your child can look back and say, hey, mommy and daddy, instead of having to call another person daddy, right? So I'll be very happy if that can happen to you too. But all I'm saying, don't get just don't force into marriage. Marriage is a lifetime commitment. And for the last 4 programs that we had on marriage, when you listen to individuals, their issues and what they're going through, well, of course, the positives and the negatives, it is not something to play around. Marriage is not a game. So don't use pregnancy ever as a cover up for marriage. And the other question I want to ask to all of you today is at this point in time, were there regrets? Like, what you already have criticism to by individuals and everything, but were there regrets that you would have faced directly? So I'm gonna go with Miriam. All right, Miriam is off. Here I will connect her after. All right, let me go with Marissa. Were there regrets when you got pregnant?
A little regret in the sense that, like I said, I was going to school at that point in time, and studying the fact that I really wanted to write CXC and so on, and that's the only part of it that I felt the regret of actually being pregnant.
Okay.
But at this point in time, I'm happy that I don't feel that way. I mean, but at that point, I would have felt like that. But what gave me hope, like I said earlier, is that the fact that even though within that little regret that I didn't get to write CXC the same year that I had to write it, what gave me hope is the fact that, like I said, my husband told me that he was going to ensure that he sent me back to school, and with the support of my mom, because my husband ensured that I got a passage and so on, and my mom, she looked after the lesson fee and so on. So I still got an opportunity to write CXC and gain my subjects and so on. But at that point in time, not getting to write it the said year that I was slated to write it, that is where I got you know, felt a little regret. But other than that, I had no regrets.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Miriam, did you have any regrets during the time? I mean, in terms of your situation where your boyfriend abandoned you and all of that, but were there regrets during this point in time?
Yes, I had regrets. First, I had been keeping myself until marriage for a long time. I was 30, going on 31, and I regretted having let my guard down and being stupid. I always blame myself for being that stupid, and I also regretted having a
a child without a father because I grew up with both my parents. I never imagined I'll ever have a child without a father. So all those regrets were running through my head, and then losing my leadership in church. Uh, it was too much. Yeah, those are most three things I regretted, and I wished I could turn back time, but it was what it was. Nothing was to be changed.
Thank you for that, Miriam. And what about in terms of when you look at your child now? Do you have this sort of fulfillment still?
Is that my question?
Miriam? Yes, sorry
I'm
about that.
sorry.
Yeah. So I was asking in terms of
Mhm.
so in terms of
The,
you, I know you spoke about the regrets in church and all of those different things, right? And I mean, I don't want you. I mean, you said it's a stupid act. You tell yourself you're stupid. I mean, we make mistakes, and of course, then afterwards we recognize the consequences of it, right? But
yes.
I still want to keep in child, right? But what I want to know now, looking at your child like on a daily basis, do you have any regret as it relates to the child directly? Now that the child came.
Oh no, 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 no. And I'm so glad that God helped me talk to that friend of mine who told me to keep the baby because, like I told you in the beginning, I wanted to give her away for adoption. Uh, but I'm so glad that I kept her because she's the most wonderful baby in the whole world, and she gives me so much joy and happiness. She gave me a reason to live. She's my everything. I just I I I told someone one day that if I could do it again, I would do it because of this child and how much joy she brings to me.
Thank you for that. And and because I'm on this program here anyway, when the other two persons finish their question, um I'm going to make this comment. So go ahead, anonymous one.
The only thing I can say that I regret is putting my baby in this position or in this situation in terms of where, he has to be in between homes by me, by his father, by me. I wish that I was more financially stable, and I wish that it would have been a situation where where when he comes home, it's to, both parents, mommy and daddy, happily married, like how I was trained or how I grew up. That's the only thing I can say I regret it. But to say that I regret my son, nope, no, nope, no, no, no. I do not regret my baby at all. My baby is love, the real definition of love. When you wake up and you look into your son or your daughter's eyes, or you just see them smile, that is just so comforting, and it gives you such a feeling that you can't even explain. And I know for sure my parents do not regret, because when they see my son and they see their grandson, I see the joy that my son brings to my parents. So if I had to listen to what people had to say and then grew hate for my child based on what they said, then I would have been the dummy. But because I
Yeah.
just took the positive, and I look at it as a blessing, I have no regrets. And in addition to having no regrets, my son brought out a kind of confidence, love, strength that I did not know that I had, because I
Wow.
had to get that strength during my pregnancy to fight through it all. So when I had that, I didn't know I had that. He brought that out of me. So I have no regrets when it comes to my son.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing. And anonymous, I know you don't have your baby. I mean, it's a really, really sad situation. I mean, your story, but are there any regrets that you still grapple with at this point in your life?
I regret everything. I regret I regret from the start to the end, telling anyone, opening to anyone, because when you tell the truth, it happens to be a lie to someone. From when you tell a lie to them, they would believe it's a truth. No one believes you when you tell the truth, because even though I did tell the truth, I was told so many times, but if you don't show it a belly, this what's not. I said, I didn't. That was the only thing that I was going to bed with and I was waking up with on my mind. Um, I tried very hard when I pray at night that it would overcome the voices of so many persons saying that I did get rid of it and me shouting out of a box that I did not. And my only regret when I was lying on the bed in the hospital was that you took my child and you shouldn't have left me. You should have taken me as well because there's no reason for living anymore because I have been seen as a murderer and would have rather been in a corner being cried over than someone or everyone telling me something that's this negative. And how I can come back from this, I don't know. I don't know when, I don't know how, but I'm here on this bed fighting and I really don't want to come out of this hospital. That's my only regret is that you took something away from me and you left me behind to suffer all that I'm going through. I don't know what was my purpose, but every morning I woke up and it was the same thing and I kept getting stronger physically and I wanted to go far different than where I was recovering. I kept asking, why are you recovering me? Because my regret is that so much people around me had loved me and now I can see the true faces. How can I be happy now to walk where I want to walk without an obstacle? I didn't even know how I finished school with all of this on my head, how I even went to work with all of this on my head, and how persons would have covered for me at work when I was hospitalized. Because it's like even to the workplace didn't believe that I was hospitalized. No one visited me at the hospital. My parents, that was their responsibility because I was their child. They came, they ensured that this was being taken care of. And all my mom and my dad told me was that I know what happened, but don't die on us. And I turned my back every time they would come and they would ensure that I'm changed. I was kind, I was fed. But every time they would say it, it's as if the words were coming out, but they had no meaning. So my regret was the life of the child, even my own life, and everything that I went through. Because I probably shouldn't have touched anything called happiness there. I didn't deserve it.
Thank you. I mean, I know you for so long, and I never wondered knew the extent of your pain that you have gone through and is currently going through. And I know that God is going to give you the strength. It may be difficult, but I mean, you have a purpose here. And I remember when the first time my mom told me that
It's all right.
So mom told me that at one point that she wanted to abort me because things were not going well at home. And, she couldn't afford a second child. And I don't think it ever meant anything to me than being here on this program here today and actually listening um, to what all of you have to say about this entire episode. And one time she said to me, she said, I am so happy that, I never aborted you. Um, even though it was a thought, I never did. Look at you today. And, when I look at that, it's like many of the times we find that ladies who wanted to abort children, when they look at their children's success stories after, all they can say, is, I'm thankful I never did it. And while I don't have a program maybe on abortion directly, because I don't know if I'll ever get persons to come forward who actually did abortion, maybe something I'm going to look at. But I want you, anybody who may be feeling as if, you're pregnant and the better option for you is to abort your child. Don't do it. I mean, my mom didn't. Look at me today. I'm happy that I can still make an impression on individuals who are around. And you don't know what your child is coming into this world for, and the reason why God really wants them here. So don't ever feel as if that because of the pressure of society, the pressure of your parents or whoever, that what the best option is for you to abort your child. So don't ever think about it. Bring your child. God is going to see you through. God is going to help the situation. So I just want to encourage you, all of you, to just don't abort your child because of the fact that whatever reason, keep your child. Your child will be a blessing one day to others. And I want to know, as we're on this note, in terms of coping with the criticism, how did you cope? Because I mean, this is like a big factor behind. But how did you cope with all the negativity, make out ladies during this period of time? So I'm gonna go with Marissa.
Well, honestly, like I said, I can't recall criticisms. If they were there, I weren't listening to them. I probably blocked my ears because for me, I told myself that I don't even care what anyone has to say about this situation. I'm gonna continue to go to church, and after I get this baby, I will go back to school. And so, like, I can't recall honestly anybody actually criticizing me, because
Okay.
my family was very supportive, and like I said, one two church members spoke to me, so I can't really recall criticism. But if they were there, I certainly didn't listen to those criticism. I never missed church. I went to church until I got my child.
Thank you. Anonymous. I know you mentioned a whole lot just now, but I mean, how are you coping emotionally right now? Let me go to the present. How are you coping emotionally with everything? Because I know when I asked you about this, I know you told me, I'm gonna pray about this before I decide if I'm gonna come on the program, because it's something that is so fresh to me. So I want to know, how are you coping right now with all of this that had happened?
Well, I isolate myself, try to make me happy. Um, Even though it's been a long time, I persons are now trying to get in, but I guess I'm not opening to them. And I refused to go back to the doctors because I
Mm-hmm.
told them I'm not mad. Nothing is wrong with me. There's a reason why God recovered. I'm 100% recovered. I Doctor said I have no other problem. If I want to start, let me let him know when I want to start a family. Um, I told him I'm not going to go down that road. Um, I even lock out dating completely
Mm-hmm.
um, until what I told myself. I want to stop myself from being happy because of one experience. I probably will not be happy again.
Yeah.
Um, my friends that were my friends, they wouldn't understand that the simplest things they would say and make it a joke is not a joke for me because
Okay. All right. So we're gonna take anonymous one at this time.
Okay, so how I coped with criticisms. Really, I had amazing parents. Well, I have amazing parents. I have amazing friends, and well, God keep putting different people in my life that brought something positive to me. Um, when I was making my son, I asked God for a girl because girls easy to take care of, easy to buy clothes and stuff. Boys, they're a little difficult. And I turned to the Lord. I said, I know, the situation or whatever. But if you bless me with a boy, you have to provide for that boy. And trust me, Sabiki, God has been providing for my son. I have
Amen.
countless amount of stuff from friends and family that goes towards my son. Um, my parents, they encouraged me, even though my mom was mad and my parents were disappointed, they were still there for me. I would call them every day because I wasn't around with them. They weren't around me. I was by myself. Even though my friends were there, I was by myself in terms of family. My
Mm-hmm.
mother, my father, they call me night, morning, night, evening, every single day. When I don't have a class, my parents is on the phone. When I don't have a class, my boyfriend is on the phone. So I had that support, a strong support system from my parents, from my boyfriend, from my friends that helped me to, to realize that, it is life, it has happened, and it it only depends on how you look at it. Either you can look at it as a blessing or you can look at it as a curse. So a lot of people used to say, "Oh, I'm spitefully doing this," in terms of I used to dress up, I used to still look pretty. When I walked, my head was high. I just gained that confidence. I didn't allow what they said break me because at the end of the day, it was not just about me. I am now catering and preparing myself to mother a son, and I can't afford to be sad and depressed and all of this that's gonna affect my son. I had to be happy. I had to be strong. I had to be confident, and I had to just hold on to that and drive with it. I had to make that mine. So I was confident. I walked. People would watch. They would stare. They would talk. And I just did not allow that to bother me. I said, I am proud of my accomplishments. I am proud of where I am, and I am going to be a proud mother regardless of what. And when my friends see my son or they see me, they be like, "Oh, that's our child," and stuff like that. I still did activities like I played netball when I was pregnant. I still
Mm-hmm.
went out. I still had fun. I didn't allow my pregnancy to push me in a hole and or in a wall or in in a dark place. I allowed that light to shine and it shined bright. I just I just looked at the best part. I am going to be a mother and I am not doing this for myself. Whether you do good or you do bad, people will always talk. They would always talk. It's what you live with and what you allow to direct your life. And what I allow to direct is my positive. Trust me, it had nights when I was lonely, it had nights when I wanted to cry, it had nights when I wanted to be depressed, but I just did not allow myself to be, to do, or listen to the negative. I just any positive I heard, I just grabbed that and I went. It was
Love
hard, it
that.
was challenging, but I allowed the positive to shine. So I went to church still when I was in USC. Whenever I woke up, not too late, I still went to church, even though I knew that eyes would be on me. I still allowed people to see, not that I am sad, not that I am depressed, but I allow them to see that confidence, that happiness, that how proud I am to be a mother, to be regardless of my situation.
Thank you. And
That
I was really proud of you too, because it's like, I mean, you see you're wrong. I knew you were still playing netball, and I'm like, wow, I'm so happy for you, because it's like, I mean, yeah, you were pregnant, but then still, I'm just gonna do me, and you're always happy around friends and everything, and I must commend you for that. And that was it took real confidence to deal with that here, real confidence. But thank God that He would have strengthened you to deal with that situation. So we're going to take some comments from the audience before I go to my final question, in which I'm going to ask these wonderful young ladies here today. Unfortunately, Miriam, I think she had to leave. Yes, so she may not be here for the final question, but I'm going to just scroll up, just take some of these comments. Audience, thank you for the support that you would have given to our girls today. They're so needed. And I want to show, okay, great. So Sister Geraldine McCallman, she said this. She got pregnant out of wedlock with both of her kids. Both of her parents were church officers. Um, she got her friend to break the news. Her parents didn't criticize her, and neither can she remember if the church did. Even if they did, she knew that, okay, she was already a backslider, and she knew that she was going to make it right. And by the way, audience, you may not know, but Sister Geraldine she served in several offices in the church, and before she migrated to the US, she served as my head elder for many years. So imagine that. So it doesn't your past should never ever determine where you are going or your future. And as Anonymous One would have mentioned, I mean, will you be confident in everything? Trust me, they are going to get over it. They will get over it soon, but keep that confidence going. Thank you, Sister Geraldine, for sharing that. And there is a question here by Dylan Basil. Um, so is parenting an equally serious lifetime commitment as marriage? Or is marriage a bit more serious? Because if they are both equally serious commitments, then one would think that if you can be a parent, you can be married. What do you think? Very important question, very relevant question, Basil. And I want audience, you can help me with this. I have an answer to this question. It may not, I don't know if it may be 100% right in the eyes of the audience, but if there's anybody else you want to give an answer to this question, feel free to put your comments below on this question. In the meantime, let me search for some other comments that persons would have made. So I'm going to take Basil's comment off for just a moment. So he's just trying to equate marriage and parenting to see if they're both serious and if they're both equally serious commitments. So if they are, maybe those ladies who get pregnant, they should think about marriage right away. What do you think about it? So just ponder in that comment. Pastor Manzano, if you're still viewing, I'll be very happy to hear your comment on this. Sister Geraldine, Marcel, who is viewing, let me hear some comments. Just place your comments there. Or if possible, I can ask you to come into the stream to give your answer. No problem. I'll put the stream link in a few there. All right, good. As Soyini said, children are blessings. So don't ever forget that. Um, I think these are some of the comments that came in while Anonymous, you were talking. Anonymous, yeah. My sister, God got you. Hang in there. I felt and I believe everything, woman. God will make a way, sis. Wow, you are strong. And this came from Tonette Vian on YouTube. Wow, you're a strong woman. Thank you for sharing, my dear. God sees and knows. I pray for your healing. Sending you virtual hugs and prayers. And tenderness, Joe said, hi, ladies. Thanks for sharing your experiences. No matter what your experiences are, God still loves you. Let him be the shoulder to lean on forever. There are different experiences, but there is one God that loves us like him. I love that. Thank you so much, Josette, for sharing that comment. And then we have Deskin, Pastor Deskin Lanferman. He said, God is able to restore us from any bad situation. God will even use our mistakes to make us great individual. Let me see some other comment. Okay, Shanella says this. It's okay. Take your time, and Jesus loves you and is looking out for you. Anonymous, permission, if you give me permission, maybe after the program, you can send me a message. Sister Gwelin is asking for your name so she can put you on her prayer school. If you're comfortable sending your name, just send me a WhatsApp message, and I'm gonna send your name to her. Sister Marcel is saying, girl, it was not easy. They talk enough behind my back, but damn, girl, I was in church every Sabbath. I love that. That's confidence right there. Sometimes I still feel as though I am being a judge. Snowbite said this, who's viewing on YouTube. Your story is very touching, but remember the Lord will not give you more than you can handle. It's hard, but you are still here and know that you have a purpose. You may not see and may not. Thank you, Snowbite, for your comment there. Pastor Manzano said this, God's grace and love transcends all our shortcomings. Reconciliation to God is primary when we fall. And Snowbite again, see it yet, but trust God. Nothing passes God's eyes. He know you would be faced with this struggle and has given you the strength to go through it. No matter what you go through, trust him. Anonymous, I love you, sister. And by the way, this talking here will help a whole lot, because talking is therapeutic, because sometimes we go through situations but we don't take the time to actually talk it. But when we do, trust me, it provides a very therapeutic healing for us. Sister Gwelin, I knew of a situation when I became an elder. The elder came and told me of her situation for her child. She stepped down as she parent, and all I encourage a person not to stop coming to church. Exactly. All right, so I'm getting the first answer coming here. So thank you all for sharing the comments, your encouragement to these ladies here. So just want to go back to Dylan's question, and I am going to put up the answer given by Andrea. So that's Dylan's question for those of you who are viewing. I want you to remember, those of you who are viewing on YouTube, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. For those of you who are viewing on Facebook too, you can go to YouTube and like and subscribe, please, and thank you. I appreciate that very much. So the question, if parenting is equally, if both of them are serious, so we got an answer here from Andrea Charles, and this is what she says. To think about it, parenting is not a serious lifetime commitment as marriage, because you parent until that child or children get their own family, while marriage is till death do you part. Interesting. Thank you, Andrea, for sharing that. I wasn't even thinking about it in that light. Thank you for sharing that. Is there any other response to the question that Dylan asked? Dylan, I would want to agree with Andrea 101%, right? And even parenting, even when children leave the parents' home, you may still parent, because you might end up parenting, well, should I say parenting or co-parenting your grandchildren, But anyway, you still have a bit of a role to play in that situation, right? Um, but it's marriage is far, far, far. I would say parenting is important, but when it comes to marriage commitment, it's not a game. It's just not a game. I'm not certain if I can equate it. They're both important, but just don't go into marriage because you have become a parent. That is what I would say. And Anonymous One has a response, so I'm gonna listen to her response at this time. Go ahead, Anonymous One.
Okay, so when it comes to parenting and marriage, yes, they are both commitment, but there are two different types of commitment or two different levels of commitment. When you're parenting, you're guiding, you're nurturing, you're protecting a child to become an adult. When you are married, that is that is not you nurturing or you protecting or you guiding your spouse. It's you saying, yes, I am willing and I am ready to be with this individual with all their flaws. Yes, I am ready to spend however long I have on this earth with this one individual, even if he snores. It is you saying that you are ready to commit yourself physically, sexually, emotionally to one individual person. When you're parenting, you have different children, which means you have to show love to all of them. But when you're married, you can show your love for your husband to your dad or to someone else. So it's different, it's two different, it's different, it's commitment, yes, but it's two different types of commitment. It's you saying until death do us part. It is you saying that in front of God, this is the man I believe is for me. So if you're not ready for that, yes, you may not be ready to become a parent, but you can get ready. If you're not ready for marriage and you go into marriage, that's unfair for the other person because while you're laying back, that person has to carry that marriage on their back, and that is not fair because they love you, they're carrying it. If you're a parent, you have to be a parent. You have to look at your child. You have to nurture your child. But if you're married and you're not ready to get married, all the responsibility, all the loving, all the kindness, everything is going to be up to your significant other, and that is not going to be fair for that person. So if you're not ready for marriage, do not get married. That's my
Thank
comment.
you. Thank you. Man, you sound like a preacher woman there, man. I love that. And that's what parenting makes you think differently and act differently. So Marissa, you are um a parent and you're married. You're the only married person in this program here. I'll be very happy to hear your response on that particular question.
Yeah, like what the young lady was just saying, indeed, when you are married, you have to adjust yourself, you have to compromise, you got to know that you are both one, right? And you have to listen to each other. And as a parent, most times a parent would want their child to listen to them because most times parents knows best because as a child you may think you're doing something that is right until you realize there's consequence. Especially like your parents say don't play with fire and you play with fire, you end up getting burned. So as a
Yeah.
parent now you have to guide your children, you have to tell them what to do, but in a marriage you now have to listen to each other, right? You become one. So that's my take on the parenting and marriage.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to take this final comment from Sister Geraldine before we move to our final question for today. And she says, I believe both are, but parenting is much more a lifetime commitment. Okay. In case of a divorce, the person returns home. The parents know that's my child, married or unmarried, until their eyes are closed. Quite unlike marriage. Point taken. Valid point. So Dylan, I hope that we were able to address your question here this afternoon. And our final question that we're going to ask the members of the panel is this, and it is, what would you advise anyone else who may become pregnant before marriage? What would your advice be to anyone who may become pregnant before marriage? And any one of you can begin. This is our final question.
For me personally, I would ask that individual not to do an abortion because I don't feel that's an option, even though indeed we are human beings. That's the first thing that will run to our mind. But I want to encourage those individuals who are out there today, who's in this situation, not to do an abortion, even though we know we may think of doing it. You may want to do it. Don't, and you need to just hold your head up and know that God will see you through. I mean, in spite of the fact that you should be a Christian, for those who are Christians, do not think about what people may say. That's not going to determine what you become in life because it did not determine for myself. Because today I'm here, I'm working, I'm having the same person as my partner. I mean, everybody's story may not be as mine, but I was one of the fortunate ones, and I want to say thanks to God for that. But
Yeah.
my encouragement to those youths, whether you're a youth, whether you're in your 20s, your 30s, you're going to church, you got pregnant, whatever, don't do an abortion. Just focus on what you need to do, and that's so bring that child and nurture that child into this world. And just ensure that you do not repeat the same thing that you did before again, because that is very, very, very important.
Thank you so much, Marissa, for sharing. Thank you very much. Anonymous?
Uh, the to encourage persons who find themselves in this situation, I don't think they should lock themselves away. I mean, this goes for me as well. Um, I'm trying to still find my way, find myself, try to find try to find myself among positive people. So that would be the second one. Encourage them to seek help when it comes to a psychologist. I know they don't think that, well, in my case, I didn't get the child, but it will affect them emotionally. They can suffer from anxiety, and this the child can pull a lot whilst developing, and that wouldn't be healthy because it would it will be like a cycle. Um, they're suffering from it. The child will have signs of suffering from it, um, and let them pray a lot. Let them
Yeah.
pray a lot. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the encouragement. And Anonymous one?
Okay, as Marissa rightfully said, no abortions. Do not ever think that getting married is a way out. What I also say is, even though you're in the situation, if you want help, do not be afraid to ask God for help. Because if it's one thing that I have learned is that even though I was pregnant, not married, God still made a way and He still answered my prayers. In addition to that, you have to be prepared not only for yourself, but also accept the fact that you would be nurturing someone that would have an impact, whether negative or positive impact in today's world and today's society. When it would have times when you feel alone, even though you're surrounded by family, you would feel alone, you would feel depressed. But anytime you feel like that, do not allow yourself to drown in it. Think about something positive, play a game, watch a movie that, is happy or will let out happy emotions. Speak to a friend that will make you laugh. You do whatever you have to to get out of that phase, because when you have a child and you see that your body moves from a small to a medium or an extra large, trust me, sweetheart, you would think about, oh my God, I'm too fat. Oh my God, I'm too this. But just love yourself. And no matter what people say, do not allow that to affect your relationship with your child or you as an individual. You just look at it as growth. You grow and you shine. In addition to what I am saying, parents would be mad, whether it be for some weeks, some days, probably some months, but they would not be mad forever.
That's
So
right.
they would, when you just go and put your child in their hand and they see their grandson or their granddaughter and they see those bold eyes or that big teeth, that big smile, you think they're going to be like, oh no, that's happiness, that's warmth, that's their genes going on to another. That's, it just brings them that kind of emotions and that kind of feeling. Do not be afraid to be yourself. Do not be afraid of being happy, I should say. A lot of people were saying, because I was happy and I was posting pictures with me with my big belly and I posting it on WhatsApp and I was showing, a lot of people were saying I was trying to rub it in other people's face, but it was not that. It was me showing others that I am genuinely happy regardless. So do not be afraid of becoming happy and do not be afraid of allowing your pregnancy or this step in life to, nurture you, or to allow that, that key to unlock that hidden strength and love and kindness that you don't even know you have. And when you're making decisions, please remember that you're not only making decisions for yourself. Every decision you make goes straight back to your child.
Yeah.
So everything you do, bucket show, it's for you and your son or your daughter. Don't only think, oh, it's for me. I just want to do it because it's me. Just remember how it would affect your child, because it affecting your child is technically it affecting you as a parent. But be
Yeah.
happy, have confidence, smile, and just look at all the positive. Don't ever think that you have to be married to see the good in being pregnant. Pregnancy, having a child, that's happiness in itself. So you just be happy. That is my advice to y'all.
Thank you so much, Anonymous One. And I mean, you ladies are fantastic. I must say, as Tonet would have said here, where is it? I have to. Okay. Um, thank you. Thanks, beautiful ladies, for sharing your experiences. God bless you all. And on the note of the question, Marcel has to say this: do not have an abortion and do not allow yourself or anyone into a marriage that you're not ready for. It's a huge mistake. And that's so true. Uh, excuse me, Sister Gwelin said, do not abort the child. Remember, it's a miracle from God. You never know if that's the only child you can have. Exactly. Whatever you did in the past, know that God is forgiving. So I'm so happy about I'm so happy for our audience. I'm so happy for the comments given. And I just want to encourage all of us for the young persons who are not young people who are not sexually active as yet, don't start. Don't start. Ask God to give you the strength to wait until you marry, because we recognize, and after listening to today's program, the pain and the grief and the heartache that can come out of it. But I'm so thankful for these confident women who were still able, amidst the struggles, amidst so much of what's going on in their lives, they were still able to make it through life and to reach to this point in time. So I'm so thankful for my guest today. Miriam, who had to leave, my other friend, someone who I met lately, uh, from Suriname, who was supposed to be on the program here today. But nevertheless, I hope that one day we can have you here to speak about your experiences. Marissa, I'm thankful to you and Anonymous One. So, ladies, may God bless you. I just want to pray a special prayer for you and for anybody else who may be listening to this program or will listen to this program after, who may be going through the same problem that you guys are going through. So let us pray. Eternal God and Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We're thankful for today's broadcast, Lord. There are many times as Christians we don't open up about certain issues. And there are many of our young people who are dying emotionally, who are grieving. Many of them are depressed because of the fact that they would have made a mistake, and the endless criticisms that they receive from their partners, from relatives, from immediate family members, from the church, and even their community at large. Father God, I want to uplift each and every one of these young ladies who are on this program today, and all other young women who have gone through the same issue and are still battling criticism by others. I pray in the mighty name of Jesus that you will give them the strength to hold on, that you will comfort their hearts, Lord, that you will guide and you will direct their pathways. May you provide emotional healing for them, psychological healing. Lord, may you help them that they will stand with boldness and confidence, knowing that you are a forgiving God and that you have forgiven them. Help them never ever to deviate from your pathway, but help them, Lord, to stay on course and to stay connected with you. I pray for all the men, Lord, who are viewing this broadcast or who may view after. Help, Lord, that if any one of them is currently in this situation, help them that they will be supportive of their child. And Father God, I pray our young men, even before they think about sex, Lord, they will think about marrying our young women to save them the headaches and the heartaches that they find they have to go through in this life. So continue to bless us all in a special way and help us all to have a wonderful and a safe weekend, we pray. Through Jesus Christ. Amen and amen. So God bless you all, and see you again on Monday at 2 o'clock. All right, so I have a question here. How can I fill the gap after praying for so long and it still hurts? The only answer to that question is counseling. Honestly speaking, this the only counseling and continuous. But we're gonna talk, and oh well, there's an answer here. All right, so go right ahead, Anonymous One.
No matter what you do, no matter where you go, it is still going to hurt. Trust me. You see kids, it's going to hurt. You hear kid voice, it's going to hurt. But what you must do is not just pray and sit, or pray and lay down, or pray and remain sad. What you need to do is pray and think about happy things. Pray, and if you don't get up in the morning and make your bed, get up in the morning, you make your bed. You have to take it one day at a time on the positive side. You got to pray and move. Pray and move. If you pray and you stay, you will remain trapped or feel trapped. But that gap where you lost a baby without even knowing him or her, it is never going to be filled. What you have to do is step on that hurt and you conquer it. You say, you know what? I am a strong woman. I have lost and I know what pain is. And you just decide and make a commitment to be happy because you know what pain is. It's time for you to know what happiness is or what happiness feels like. So you have to take that strength that I know is within you and you climb on that pain and you conquer it. Trust me, you would conquer it. Every day, you listen to something positive, you listen to something that would make you laugh. Because I can speak because I was depressed to the fact that to the point where I wanted to kill myself, where I no longer wanted to live. And I woke up one morning and I say, you know what? You got this, Mariah. You got this. And I stepped up every day. I would listen to something positive. Every day I would laugh with a friend. Every day I would do something that I never did or that I have stopped doing. And look at me today. Ain't nothing anyone can tell me that would break my spirit because I know what pain is and I know how it feels. And I am not allowing it to control my life anymore. And you can do the same, sweetheart. Trust me. With God's help, you will conquer.
Amen. And now that I know the depth of your story, feel free to contact me. We will definitely talk about this. And yeah, and as Tanit say, seek professional help. And Marcia says she used to sing. By the way, Marcia is a singer. Yeah? When I'm back on my feet again. So yeah, we have to take practical steps as Mariah would have shared there because nobody's gonna love us like how we would love ourselves. And the healing that we want to get, it comes from within. So if I'm praying and I'm not acting, it will be like praying in vain. So we're gonna talk though. But I'm so happy that at least this would be the beginning of a breakthrough for you, my dear. God is going to see you through. Definitely, God is going to see you through. So on that note, I just want to say bye and do have a fantastic weekend. I mean, for those who are Adventists, happy Sabbath to you. Those who are Christians in general or those who are not Christian, just have a wonderful weekend. Please do what is right. And see you again on Monday at 2 o'clock, where we look at another issue um, that will be able to help us. And by the way, Anonymous, you have a lot of support system. If you really need support system, just let me know. And I have a lot of people I can liaise you with to have that conversation with you. So long. See you again. See you
Thank you
again.
for having me, Shabiki.
You're most welcome, my dear.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much,
Welcome, my
everyone.
dear. All right. Bye bye, ladies.